forget all you've been told. Don't blink, don't run, don't turn left or turn right or look straight at the sun. My mind's going in circles, I'm trying to fight it. Getting these voices inside to stay quiet. Going to the place where all this began. Just start again. Oh, you won't see the light until the dawn breaks. No, till it's all said and done, you won't know what it takes. Gotta make a wrong turn and turn around. Gotta fall fast to pick yourself up off the ground. Until you get lost, you'll never be found. And you can't start again until you break down. Break down. Until you break down. They say, be meek. Look beneath the bed before you go to sleep. Keep on, I shine. You'll surely get burned if you reach out and touch. My mind is a battle, I'm trying to hide it. Getting these voices inside to stay quiet. Going to the place where all this began. Just start again. I'll see the light until the dawn breaks. No, till it's all said and done, you won't know what it takes. Gotta make a wrong turn and turn around. Gotta fall fast to pick yourself up off the ground.
Hello there, friends and followers. This is Q8 Pilot, and this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is a flight simulation platform that has been totally redefined and completely reimagined to bring us the world in a way that has never ever been seen before in a flight sim platform. The depiction of the entire world is very accurate, thanks to the Bing Maps, satellite imagery, and Microsoft Azure and artificial intelligence. Over the many years that flight simulation has been around, we have seen FSX, Prepared, X-Plane, Aerofly FS, and many others, including DCS. But no flight simulation platform has been able to achieve the level of realism and immersion that Microsoft 2020 does in this flight simulator. The depiction of weather, the buildings, the trees, everything has been really modeled, well thought of, and beautifully crafted to bring us closer to reality. It is my aim in this video to provide you with an overview of what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 offers, both in terms of the realism and features. So let's get started. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is a holistic and complete flight sim platform. It comes with the entire world modeled, including trees, shrubs, grass, you name it. It's available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. The depiction of atmospheric conditions in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is second to none. Everything has been modeled: clouds, precipitation, humidity, even the temperature. And the different temperatures will affect the way your aircraft handles up in the air. Let us now take a look at some of the visual elements of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are currently flying over Seattle, Washington. You can see Seattle-Tacoma International Airport right there. You can see Boeing Airfield right over here. This is, of course, a satellite imagery coupled with Bing Maps and Microsoft Azure to bring you this level of detail. This looks exactly like Seattle, Washington. If you've been there, you'll be able to recognize some of these buildings. In fact, if you zoom in, you'll probably be able to find your house or your office building where you work. You can also see the road traffic down here, and the movement of the traffic is extremely realistic as well. Let's take a look at the atmosphere. You can see the scattered clouds in the area here, and of course they use noise to generate these clouds. This is live weather, and this is the exact weather at this time at Seattle, Washington. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 gives you the ability to manipulate weather to a very granular detail. Currently, we have live weather set. We're going to change this to few clouds. As you can see now, there are few clouds in the vicinity, and they look extremely realistic. Let us go ahead and change it to something else. We're going to go ahead and change this to scattered clouds. As you can see now, the scene looks extremely realistic. You can see the light scattering. You can see the reflection of the clouds here on the water, and you can see also the shadow of the clouds on the buildings. The light scattering is extremely realistic. In fact, the implementation of light, reflection of light, is handled extremely well in this flight sim platform. Let us change it again to, for example, broken clouds, and just look at that. That looks extremely realistic. The light scattering, the variation of the clouds, the elevation of the clouds, everything looks absolutely stunning. Let's go one more time here and change this to rain. Look at that. That looks extremely realistic, and you can see the light scattering and the depiction of the clouds and the variation of the clouds looks extremely realistic. Of course, you can see now the AI traffic flying around the Seattle area as well. This is something that we have never seen before in a flight sim platform. This is really a flight sim dream come true. I have now changed the weather back to live weather. What we are going to do is we are going to attempt landing here at Boeing Airfield. Let's unpause the sim, and let's continue and land the aircraft at Boeing Airfield. One thing you will notice on the aircraft windshield is the ice that has formed as a result of the conditions that we've set earlier. This is one thing I really have a lot of appreciation in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. As you can see now, the ice has melted and has completely gone away. The same thing happens during rain. When the rain actually starts, you will see that all the surfaces will get very wet. But when the rain stops, the surfaces will continue to be wet until they dry as an effect of the weather. It is that detailed, and it is that accurate, and it is totally immersive. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come here and land. As you can see now, you can see the trees more clearly, and you can see the traffic more clearly. You can see the clouds here, just absolutely stunning, totally immersive, and very, very realistic. So this is something that I think us flight simmers were looking for a very long time. And the nice thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is that you don't really need to invest in any additional plugins to get these results. This is absolutely out of the box. This is what you see is what you get. And of course, you will need a very reliable internet connection to be able to stream. And as you can see here, you can see things are popping in the distance as I might make my way here towards the runway here at Boeing Airfield. Just look at that approach. It just looks absolutely stunning, very, very realistic, and totally immersive. All right, and we're going to set flaps for our approach. Again, there is really no stuttering, so the sim itself is very, very fluid. But you will need definitely to install Microsoft Flight Simulator on an SSD, and you will need a reliable internet connection, of course, to be able to very quickly generate the trees, the buildings as you fly. But this is absolutely stunning, ladies and gentlemen. Really a very, very immersive flight simulator. All right, here we go. We are coming to land now. And as you can see, and if you've ever been in the Seattle area, this looks exactly like the Seattle area. There are a few differences in some of the locations, so not all the locations are this accurate, but nonetheless, most of the world is pretty accurate. Of course, it will depend largely on when the satellite imagery was taken. But here we go. We are going to land here at runway 14 right at Boeing Airfield. And you can see the sloped runway. So the contoured runway is something that has been really nailed in this version of Microsoft Flight Simulator. All right, here we go. And we are safely at Boeing Airfield. What I'm going to do is I want to make a right turn right here, and I want you guys to take a look at let me just slow the aircraft down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here so you can actually see the grass that has been modeled here. Just look at the grass and how it's been modeled. Again, looks very realistic. Let's go ahead and switch to external view. Just look at that. That is absolutely stunning. Very, very realistic. Look at that. All right. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to show you what happens during nighttime. To do this, we are going to head back over here, and we can simply change the time right here. We have now changed the time, and you can see how realistic the reflection of the sun on the surfaces in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. You can see the light of the aircraft here on the tarmac. You can see the shadows. Look at the shadows. And if we actually hop into the aircraft and we look this way, just look at the reflection here on the wing. That is absolutely outstanding and very, very realistic. Let's go ahead and change the time further. Just look at that. Absolutely stunning view. The lights look absolutely realistic here. And you can see here the lights near the trees and how they illuminate the ground. This is groundbreaking. This is really a breakthrough in flight simulation. You can see all the AI traffic. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to hop back into the cockpit here, and we're going to give it some power, and we're going to turn back on the runway, and we're going to take off once more so that I can show you Seattle during nighttime. All right, here we go. We are going to turn back here now, and we're going to take a look at Seattle during this time of day. All right, let's give it full power. And we are going to rotate at 60 knots. 60 knots and rotate. Just look at the night lighting here. This is absolutely stunning. Look at that. You can see the variation of the lights, the size of the lights, the illumination of the lights where you can see them is simply outstanding. Very, very realistic. Again, I haven't really seen anything like this, and this is definitely a breakthrough in flight simulation, a dream coming true for us flight simmers. As you can see here, again, you can see the reflection of the terrain on the water. And speaking of water, let's go ahead and make a turn here, and I want to show you guys something. Now, the nice thing also in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is the actual waves, the water waves, will actually depend on the weather. So if you are flying in stormy conditions, that will be depicted, and you will see that the waves, you'll see high tides, and that is something you've probably seen in the footage that I've created, the cinematic footage that I've created in the opening of the video. Look at those lights and look at how they are illuminated, how they illuminate the ground. And now as we come closer to the water here, let me just slow down the aircraft and just look at that. This is absolutely beautiful, breathtaking scene, really, and extremely realistic. The amount of realism is something that will keep you chuckle and joy, really just seeing how things have been done and how the realism just really immerses you in the flying experience. Just look at that. Now you can see it clearly. You can see the water here and how the water has been modeled. This is a very realistic scene, as you can see. It looks very real. That's exactly how Seattle looks during this time of day. And this is something that I really appreciate a lot. You can see now again how the water has been modeled, and it looks very, very realistic. Look at that. Look at the water here, and you can see all the shadow and all the reflection, all the lights. Looks extremely realistic. All right, there's one more thing I want to kind of show you guys before we move on. If we change the time to completely nighttime, so this is complete darkness here, just look at that stunning view. Absolutely gorgeous night lighting, the illumination, and you can see again the movement of the traffic here is extremely realistic. Really well done, Microsoft and Asobo Studios. This is something that was really a dream, and it has definitely now come true. Let's switch to external view here. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is jam-packed with challenges, activities, trainings, and much, much more. As you can see, the user interface has been designed with the user in mind. It is an intuitive and modern user interface to ensure smooth user experience. The welcome screen here gives you access to the world map where you can set up your flights, a landing challenge, flight training where you can learn how to fly the Cessna 152, which by the way is included in Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as activities and news where you can get some feedback and support. The profile is your individual profile. It shows your hangar, the content manager, and your logbook. The content manager is where you would go to install or check for updates of the various items that has been installed. This is probably mainly for third-party developers in the future. The hangar is where you can go and actually look at your aircraft, and you can either use the cinematic mode here, or you can actually hop in the aircraft and move around and look at the aircraft, both the exterior and the interior of the aircraft as well. You can do this for all the aircrafts that are available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. The marketplace is coming soon. This is probably where we will see the PMDG 737 very soon, and PMDG has already announced and has shown screenshots of the NGXU for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. The Options tab is where you go to set up all your options, including all the general settings, including graphics, camera, sound, traffic, and so on and so forth. I will be making detailed videos and tutorials on how to set up your camera and all of your other settings. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 gives you the ability to select the degree of assistance you wish to receive. You can either toggle from an all assist mode, middle ground, or true to life. Piloting, as you can see here, for example, takeoff auto rudder, off, assisted yoke, and so on and so forth. There are multiple options that you can set on or off to tweak the experience to your liking. The Controls window gives you the ability to map all your flight sim gear, mouse, and keyboard to the functions that you require in the flight simulator. The nice thing about this is all I had to do is actually make sure that all my equipment is connected. Once I've installed Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, all my flight sim gear was automatically detected and all of the controls were automatically mapped. The only thing that I had to configure myself was the J rudder. It's quite simple. You just click on the item and you will basically see all the controls that you can map to your flight sim gear, keyboard, or mouse. Let us now take a look at the world map where you can edit free flight, create a flight plan, or select an existing flight. As you can see, the world is modeled as planet Earth. You can clearly see the division between daylight and nighttime across the globe. You can also see the weather conditions. As you can see here, there are cloud layers here covering this area. You can always go to the filter and toggle the layers that you do not want to see. For example, you can turn on the wind effect as well. Now you can see the wind effect as well as the clouds covering the entire globe. You can also select the aircraft that you want to fly by clicking here. As you can see, these are all the aircrafts that are available to you. Also, you can select the liveries, the weight and balance, the failures, and ATC options as well. For the purposes of showing you how easy it is to create a flight plan, we're going to select the Airbus A320neo. Next, we're going to select the departure airport, which is going to be Washington National Airport, Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha, and we're going to select the arrival as LaGuardia, Kilo Lima, Golf Alpha. As you can see now, we have the entire route here, and we can actually go to Ronald Reagan and select Zoom on Details. Now you'll have the actual map of the airport and all the available positions where you can position your aircraft. We're going to go ahead and position the aircraft here at gate 16. And we're going to say set as departure. Next, we can come here and select IFR, low altitude airways. As you can see now, a flight plan has been created for us automatically with all the waypoints here, including VOR station here, right here. And you can also see that there is a departure, so there is a direct, or you can select the SID from the drop-down menu here. You can always, of course, create your flight plan from SimBrief, and then you can come here and select the corresponding SID star and different airways. You can do the same thing here for LaGuardia. We can, for example, select the Corey 4, and we can also select the approach, we'll say ILS runway 04. And that is pretty much it. Now, once we load the aircraft at Ronald Reagan National Airport, you will see that the entire flight plan is already in the aircraft's MCDU, ready for you to fly the aircraft. The flight training window here gives you the ability to learn how to fly the Cessna 152. As you can see, you have 8 lessons that will teach you how to learn and master the Cessna 152. The activities section here gives you the ability to do some landing challenges as well as bush trips. For the landing challenges, there are again multiple challenges that you can select from, including famous ones, epic, and strong wind. Let me tell you, those challenges are quite challenging and extremely fun. This brings us to the conclusion of our overview and first look at Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. On behalf of the entire Threshold team and for myself, Q8 Pilot, I want to thank you for tuning in today. Until next time, please take care of yourself and each other, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.